It's a Leffe day.
Welcome back to another episode of A Nosebleed Perspective. So for the next couple of weeks, I think we're just going to kind of jump from division to division. And now that the schedule came out last night, we're going to, now that we know when people are playing, where, blah, 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 we're going to start making our predictions, each team by team, division by division. And today we're going to start things off with the NFC North. So we'll be covering the Lions, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers. Just in case anybody doesn't know, this is a Nosebleed show. So the each division is scheduled to play two other divisions, and then the division winner goes on the next year and plays the winners of the other division in the conference. So, for instance, the Packers will be playing the Saints, the 49ers, and the Eagles. There we go. That's one. So just kind of give everybody a little background, and we're going to go ahead and kick things off with the Detroit Lions. So, Gibby, how do you see their season going? What do you got for their record?
Yeah, I don't see like a big jump from them from last year to this year. With Matt Patricia, the coach, I'm just not sold on him. I think he's a good, defensive coordinator, but as a head guy, his little things. Their key losses, if you look at it, Darius Slay, he's gone. He was really good with the zone, but they replaced him with a good zone corner in Okuda. And, they go and get an old Truant. And, I think he's fallen off the cliff drastically. If you watched him in Atlanta, when their defense got better, he played less. So they also lose both their D tackles and Harrison and Mike Daniels. Their really bad defense just gets worse. So I see them winning 4 to 6 games, and I easily see them going 0-4 before their very early bye week. There's just the only thing I enjoy watching about the Lions is Matt Stafford slinging the rock to his beast wide receivers. They got the best wide receivers, I think, in this division, but everywhere else they're terrible.
Yeah, that's true. Marvin Jones is a touchdown machine as well as Kenny Galladay. But, if you've had Galladay on your fantasy team like I did last year, the Lions throw for 100 touchdowns, and it seems that Marvin Jones has 3 catches for 3 touchdowns. Well, Galladay has 175 receiving yards, no touchdowns. So, but yeah, I agree that they don't take a step forward at all. I have them going 5-11. I like what you say, the early part of their schedule, but I think they're going to actually come out. I think they're going to beat the Bears at home, the first game of the season. I think they're going to come out. I think the Bears are just kind of in shambles. They probably still don't know who their quarterback is going to be. And, I feel like they're going to come out. I feel like they're going to get a win and then lose their next 3.
Yeah.
So, but I have them going 5-11. I think Matt Patricia gets fired after the season. The NFC North kind of got a tough draw with the NFC South, and the AFC South, I guess you could say, has a couple good teams. But, I'm looking at their schedule, and I don't see them winning. And that 5 wins is with the win over the Bears. That's kind of the one that might shock some people. And like you said, Darius Slay being gone they got worse. They got worse on defense. They lost those D tackles. Darius Slay, nothing to sneeze at. The dude was a monster. They didn't want to pay him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. Cheech?
Yeah. I got the Lions going 3-13. I just rough season for them. Like you guys said, Matt Patricia probably gonna get fired this year. I think that not only does the fan base in Detroit not like Matt Patricia, I also think the players are starting to lose faith in him, and I think that's just going to start showing this season. They're just going to stop performing. I guess they never really performed, but they're going to perform worse this year. But yeah, you're right about drawing the NFC South and AFC South. I've got them losing all of those games. Yeah, and then I have them going 0-4 to start the season. I think that they're gonna have a rough one, and you're right. Stafford can throw that ball, and he does have a good wide receiver core, but I don't know, that defense is just not that good, and I just think the overall team is just not built to win right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys think this is probably Matt Stafford's last season up there in Detroit?
Yeah, I was going to ask you all if let's say they do have this terrible season that we predict, and they do grab old Sunshine or old kid out of Ohio State next year. Do you think? I mean, Stafford's is a great quarterback. That maybe that next year really kind of boots their. Do you think they're better next year if they had one of them two guys?
I don't know because, excuse me, if they go out and they lose, they suck and they're tanking, they lose, they start off 0-4, that's going to like just, demoralize a team first off. And they go on to win just a few games. They get the first or second overall pick and they can land, one of those two guys. But I mean, are you really thinking that a rookie quarterback, no matter how good he is going to come in and be better than Matt Stafford? I don't think so. And I feel bad for Matt Stafford too, because the dude is just a monster. He's been playing for so long, just putting out stats like nobody else, and he just gets no love up there, I don't think. So, they paid him well. I think when he signed his contract, it was like the number one quarterback contract at the time. But we'll see. I don't see him being there. Matt Patricia being gone. Maybe he goes back to New England. Yeah, I don't know. So that would be kind of –
that would be good for New England.
Bill Belichick just waiting there with his arms open.
Come back,
back.
Come home. No, I don't think they go for a quarterback next year. I mean, you can't blame their performance on Stafford. Like, sure, the guy throws interceptions every now and then, but I mean, last year he had 19 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Like, those aren't bad numbers.
He's playing with a broken back.
Exactly, and he only had 5 interceptions. So. And he's only 32 years old too. I don't see them going for a new quarterback to replace him. I just think they need to put some players around him to actually make the team work better. Otherwise, Stafford is not the reason that they have not been a successful team. I mean, when they had Calvin Johnson, you had a great quarterback and a great wide receiver, and they still couldn't do anything.
They made that man retire early. I mean,
yeah, and that wasn't Stafford's fault. It's just the overall team. I think they got to just clean slate from the GM on down.
I know we've been smashing them for the last 5 minutes, but I tried to find anything good about them. I mean, they do have Trey Flowers. They do have Jamie Collins. I don't hate their secondary in Trufant, Okuda, and Justin Coleman from the Seahawks, but their safeties aren't good. I don't see them getting a good pass rush. I just don't see a good scenario for them this season.
Yeah, I think once last year they got screwed over in that Monday Night Football game against the Packers. Those two, was it hands to the face penalties or something? Since
they should have beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, what was that, Gibby? Say it again.
They should have beat the Chiefs last year.
The Super Bowl Chiefs?
Yeah, they should have beat them in that regular season game last year. There was a fumble at the 1 yard line for the Lions. Chiefs. Everybody thought the play was dead. Chiefs picked it up, scored, got the ball back.
Oh, I do remember that.
Everyone went nuts. Lions fans were messaging me, F you, F you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for the franchise and all those fans. But Detroit's a loyal fan base too,
Yeah.
So we're all in agreement that they're probably going to come in last in that division, it is a tough division. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but I think it's pretty good, All right, so now we'll move on to the Bears. Chicago Bears. Cheech, where do you see them finishing at?
So unfortunately for Nick Foles, I think that he is going to be the starter next year. I don't think that Trubisky wins that starting spot, but I think the Bears are only going to go 6-10. They've got a tough schedule. I think they're going to split games with the Packers. They're going to – I mean, they've got they got a decent schedule. I mean, they got the Giants, who are a pretty bad team. I think that they could pull off a win against the Titans. I don't know. That one was kind of up in the air for me. But, 6-10 for the Bears and with Nick Foles starting. And I think that if they can unleash Allen Robinson, if they can figure out how to make him a number one wide receiver and, treat him that way, they might win a couple more games than that. But I wasn't impressed by their wide receivers last year. And I'm just – yeah, I mean, I know Trubisky was throwing it to him, and I got a little more respect for Nick Foles than I do Mitch Trubisky. But honestly, the Bears being better than a 6-10 team.
Gibby?
All right. So their head coach is Matt Nagy. He's part of Andy Andy Reid tree. They got old Chuck Pagano as their defensive coordinator. Their key losses, they lose outside linebacker Leonard Floyd and their inside linebacker Kotowski. But Kotowski was only there because they were pretty beat up on defense last year, actually. And then they lose their cornerback, but they add another cornerback and Artie Burns from Pitt. Kyle Long, one of their best offensive linemen, he retires, but we all know how good Robert Quinn can be, and they add him. They add Ted Ginn. So I actually think the Bears win this division. And I think I really believe I'm a real big guy in coach and just getting the scheme. They were really bad last year when you watched them, just like how they played. They were very unorganized, and they somehow won 8 games.
That was
beat up on defense. Yeah. But if you look at this division, I think they have the best defense in this division, the best pass rush. I think they get better. You saw how they added 10 tight ends to this team. I think they kind of simplify. I think they simplify the offense for whoever the quarterback is. So there's some teams that need a quarterback to do well and do everything to make a good Super Bowl run. And I'm not saying the Bears are making a Super Bowl run, but I think they run the ball more. I think they do quicker passes because 2 years ago during the double doink, he barely got sacked. Their quarterbacks barely got sacked. Last year he was sacked almost 3 times a game. So I think they just kind of try to get the ball out quicker. I think they put too much on his shoulders last year, too much pressure. I think they simplify everything this year. And I think they win 9 to 10 games this year and win that division.
Nice. So your 9 to 10 games wins that division. Yeah, I mean, you look what, the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson when he was a rookie in his second year. They just load up on tight ends, make it simpler, stuff over the middle. So that could be a recipe. So with the Bears, this one was the hardest one in the division for me. I think they start the season off real slow. I think big Richard Foles gets the start. They didn't sign Trubisky for his 5th-year option, so that kind of just tells you that they don't think he's the answer. They picked up that huge-ass contract from Nick Foles. Huge for Nick Foles' contract. And then I have them they start off Detroit, New York Giants, Atlanta Falcons, and the Colts. And I have them going 1-3 to start. I think the Giants are going to come in there and beat them. I do.
Wow.
I'm glad that the Giants got this pull at the beginning of the season rather than going up to Chicago, December or whatever. I think the Giants might be better than what everybody expects next year. They showed some signs last year. Saquon was out for a little bit, blah blah blah. I don't know, but I have them going 7-9. Like I said, I think they get a slow start and then they kind of pick it up. I feel like they still could sign maybe a free agent or two. I think Devontae Freeman could be a good fit up there. I know they have a couple running backs already, with Cohen and David Montgomery and that other dude. But I think that he could be a good fit up there as a receiving back, help out Nick Foles in the passing game. And he's a good running back too. He's not the best, but he's had some good years. So yeah, I think they do have a relatively easier schedule with, like the Giants. Who knows what the Falcons are going to do exactly next year. They got some good players, but, it's the Falcons, so you just never know. They got Jacksonville, Houston, Billy O'Stooge up there running the show. So I think they have some chances to get some wins after they start off slow. So
yeah, for sure.
7-9.
7-9.
Yeah, I just look at their defense, and I just think that they have the least amount of question marks in this division. And I think they're solid against the run. I think they're really good against the pass with Akeem Hicks, Goldman. Khalil Mack coming off the edge. Raquan Smith is a monster in coverage over the middle.
Yep. Yeah, no, without a doubt, the best defense. I don't think that's anything that anybody would disagree with because – they got some players on that side of the ball. It's just, I said it when we were talking about the Browns. The team only goes as far as their starting quarterback. So,
yeah. And the Browns are going to kill it this year, but
we'll get there.
We'll get there soon. And so what also I was tracking too, the Lions have 0 primetime games. That's not surprising, but the Bears this year do have 4 primetime games. So.
Somebody believes in them.
Somebody does, yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and go to the Minnesota Vikings. They have 2 primetime games this year. So what do you guys think about them?
So the Vikings. I mean, I'm a big Vikings fan right now.
Big skull guy over here.
Big skull guy.
Big skull guy. I got a lot of faith in the Vikings right now. I think. I mean, I said it when we did the power rankings. I think that Kirk Cousins is going to come out and ball out this season. So I've got the Vikings going 10-6 this year. I don't know exactly. I think that it's going to be real tough, but I think that they're going to win the division. The Packers are going to be right there with them. But I don't know. I like the team that the Vikings have right now. I think they've got a good offense, even though they lost Stephon Diggs. I think that, Adam Thielen is solid. Kyle Rudolph, great tight end. Irv Smith Jr. is gonna appear a little bit more too. Their defense. I like Danielle Hunter. He's a good edge rusher, and yeah, I like the Vikings team right now. So I think that they're gonna go 10-6. They're gonna win this division.
Nice, I like it. I also have the Vikings very slimly winning this division. I think they win 11 games this year. I think they could possibly even win more, but they got to have a couple of hiccups along the way. I mean, it's Kirk Cousins, so But I do like them. They start off with Green Bay at home. I think they get that W, and that's going to be a big one. Later on, you'll see my Packers, what I think is going to happen to them. But I think it's going to be neck and neck between the Vikings and the Packers all the way until Week 17, and so I'll wait for that. But it's hard whenever I see these NFC North teams because they all play the Colts this year, and I want to say that I'm a big Colts guy. I think the Colts could just really run the table this year, but I have to be realistic too. It's Phillip Rivers, but I have them losing to the Colts. I have them losing at Green Bay, and the shocking one, I actually do have the Vikings losing versus the Lions, which is week 8. Week 8, they play the Lions at home, and I have the Lions coming in there and getting that W, one of their 5 wins. So I think they're going to win, though. I think that at the end of the season, they have, I think, an easier schedule. It's not some shocking wins. I think they're going to go to New Orleans and win Week 16. I think they win, versus Carolina, Chicago, and I think they beat Dallas at home too.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to win it. Justin Jefferson's a huge compliment to Adam Thielen. I think he's going to be able to come in and make an immediate impact. That I like their new tackle dude out of Boise State, Urza Cleveland. He was really highly touted coming out of the draft, and they got him in the second round, which they thought was a steal. He's 6'6", he's 320 pounds, I think. And the dude, everybody loved him, but they got a steal out of him. So watch out for that. So yeah, that's where I got the Vikings. Gibby.
So, like you said, they lose Stephon Diggs. They replace him with Justin Jefferson. I think down the road, that's a good move for the Vikings, actually. This year, I don't think so. But for the offseason, they lost all their starting corners. They lose Trey Waynes, Xavier Rhodes, and Mackenzie Alexander. Now, they did try to replace all them guys. They get Galladay out of TCU, who actually did pretty good in the Big 12. I know a lot of people slammed the Big 12 for all the points they put up, but whenever he faced good wide receivers, he did lock them down and do well. So I think he's good. I don't think he's as good as the guys he replaced this year, but down the road, I think it's good for the Vikings. They lose a good safety. They lose Everson Griffin and their big D tackle and Joseph. But they do add Mitchell Pierce from B-More, so I think he replaces him easily. I think he's a very talented player.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
He's
fun to watch.
Dude too. Yeah.
He pops off the screen even in NFL games. Very rarely do D tackles do that.
Yep.
Him, Chris Jones, and 99 for the Rams.
Yep.
But
of course.
I just think their defense is not near as good as it was last year. And I think the difference between me for the Vikings and the Bears is I think the Vikings are going to have to put up points. And I'm not a big Kirk Cousins believer that he can do that. So
that's where I go back to the only 2 primetime games.
Yeah, it's only 2 automatic losses.
Yeah, exactly. Good for the Minnesota fans.
Yeah.
I think they're the third best team in this division. I think they maybe go 500. I'm just not. I mean, Gary Kubiak, I think his only reason he's still in the NFL is because of Peyton Manning, and he tried to bench Peyton Manning for a scrub. So I'm just not a big believer in the Vikings with all the pieces they lost in a passing league nowadays.
They lose their offensive coordinator too. He's the head coach over there in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I didn't think of till just now. So maybe they don't win that extra game, I think. But hey, we'll see. And I wanted to bring. I wrote down
Sunday.
Yeah, I wrote down the name Xavier Rhodes. Listen, I know you said he'll be better than anybody who's replacing him this year, but if you watched him last year, this dude was a scrub last year. Yeah. He was getting beat time after time. He was on the sideline. He was one of those players. So if you take Xavier Rhodes, Stephon Diggs, they're off the field and locker room issues with whatever the fuck they had going on. I feel like you take those two, get them out. That'll help them out. It'll help Kirk Cousins out. Maybe mold with Adam Thielen even more, and get this Justin Jefferson guy in here. But I just think Xavier Rhodes, it was a blessing for them to get him the hell out of there. So that's my humble opinion.
Yeah, and I like their linebackers too, with Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. I mean, they've got a good D line with next to Hunter. They've got Michael Pierce too at DT. I mean, so they might be rough in the secondary, but I think that they're going to develop well. I mean, I have the Vikings starting off slow because I've got them beating the Packers, and then after that they're losing to the Colts, losing to the Titans, losing to the Texans, losing to the Seahawks. So they're starting the season 1-4.
Ooh.
They're going on a run.
But then, think they're gonna win their last 10 games?
I mean, they're gonna go 1-4, and then they're gonna go after that. They're gonna go 9-1. I think that they're gonna, they're gonna figure it out. And I mean those 4 straight losses that they might face at the beginning of the season, I think those 5 games are really gonna show their secondary a lot and teach them a lot of what they need to be doing back there. And so I think that and they're facing good teams. I mean, you got during that road they're facing Deshaun Watson, they're facing Russell Wilson, facing Phillip Rivers, who can sling it still. So I think that their secondary is going to grow a lot in that first 6 weeks, and that's going to help propel them in a positive direction for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and they still got Harrison Smith back there, right?
Yeah, they do.
So, I mean, he'll be a good leader back there, but I don't know, man. And it happened to them last year too. They started off slow. They had, a bunch of quarterback, wide receiver drama, blah, blah, blah. Did they lost their first few, or they went 1-3 or 1? I don't know.
That was a rough start.
Yeah, and they kind of got it together and made a good run. But I feel like the Vikings have been good for a long time. They're just a good team. They're got a historically good defense over the past 15 years. But I just feel like they're due. And the Packers, we'll get to them right now.
Yeah.
All right. So with the Packers, I'll go ahead and start us off. I think they're going to win this division. I think they're going to go 10-6. I think they're going to have an opportunity to win this at Week 17 versus Chicago. Nice. I think they're going to go into Chicago Week 17. If they win, they're in as division winner. I still think they make the playoffs as a wild card team. I think they're going to go into Chicago Week 17 and lose, and it'll be like a throwaway game for Chicago at that point. But I think they're going to get it done. It's at Chicago. They have 5 primetime games this year. So they got Atlanta, New Orleans, San Francisco, Tennessee, and Chicago, all primetime games. So I think Aaron Rodgers is I said this in our power rankings, a possible MVP candidate this year. But I think it's going to maybe come with a slow start. I have them losing Week 1 against Minnesota, going to the Superdome down there in New Orleans and losing, and going to the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers and losing that one too. So I think their big games are going to lose this year. I think that there's going to be some tension between quarterback Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, obviously we've been over – everyone knows about the draft, Jordan Love and all that. But, yeah, I think it's going to be close. But I think the Bears is going to beat them Week 17. I'm just going to screw them. 10-6.
That's a good take. I think that the Packers are just a team that's on edge. And I think anytime you're in the NFL, I think the NFL in any other professional sports besides hockey, I think the top team and the bottom team are the closest in talent-wise. So I think if you have issues in your locker room, like you talked about with the Vikings last year, I mean, they did make the playoffs and they won on a maybe controversial call if you live in New Orleans, but we won't go into that. But their key losses, Blake Martinez and BJ Goodson, they couldn't stop the run last year. And maybe they get them out of there because they thought they were the reason they couldn't stop the run. But I feel like Blake Martinez was the only guy on that team that could tackle the whole team. And then you get rid of him and you bring a guy in from the Browns who's only played 9 games in the last 2 years and Kirksley, but he's cheaper. But I don't know. They lose, obviously. And then on the O-line, we've talked about it. They lose 2 big guys and Beluga and Wagner. And then so now Aaron Rodgers doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to, and he doesn't have any time to throw the ball. So I just don't know, with the issues in the locker and everything, I just don't know if this team can live up. I think they're a 500 football team next year and miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I've got them at 9-7. I agree, Logs, with the tension between Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, but I think that's going to just – and I think I've said this before too – that's just going to propel Rodgers to just be an absolute monster this season. I think that's just going to put a fire in him. And, yeah, I think that he's going to carry the team to being 9-7. Not saying 9-7 is a good ending to the season. But, I mean, yeah, if you look at their team, their secondary is pretty good. But other than that, their defense isn't really anything to, like, be wowed by. And then we all know their issues at wide receiver. So, and like you said, losing 2 linemen is going to make Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams' job a lot harder too. So, yeah, I think the Packers are going to lose some of the fire they had in them. That's why I don't think that Rodgers will win the MVP, because it's hard to say a 9-7 quarterback wins MVP. But I do think that he's going to put up some mean numbers, and he's going to be he will be the reason why they end up that way.
Yeah. I did say possible candidate.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to win it. I just think he's going to have a good year.
I feel like if this defense was built in maybe like the NFC South, where you have the Saints and the Bucks, where like you do need a good secondary and you do need a good pass rush. But I feel like in the NFC North, where teams are going to try it with Cook and the Bears and everyone going to try to ground and pound it, maybe do some quick passes and stuff. I just don't know if their defense matches up for the 6 games that they play this year. So. But it'll be fun to watch. I think this is one of the funnest divisions to watch. I think, in my mind, this is one of the most unpredictable divisions outside of the Lions.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and it's been like that for a long time. You know, they always have a good game on Fox that's just every week, it seems like. So
for sure.
I don't know, man. I feel bad for the Lions, though. I mean, because they know. All those players, they know. They know going into the season. They know during the season. And they damn know well after the season that they fucking suck. And, you know, everybody above them in that division always has a chance to win, like you said. And it's a cold division, so you need a good running game. It's cold up there at Lambeau, at Soldier Field. And, I mean, granted, you got the Dome in Minnesota, but still, those are tough places to play. They have to play every year,
for sure.
But I don't know. So, guys, got any other takes with the NFC North?
No.
Well, I don't know. I think it would be cool if Devontae Freeman went up to Chicago. He needs a home.
Yeah. I don't know. I do want him to have a good home. I want him to go somewhere with like a high octane offense, though. I just kind of like Montgomery, maybe just because I'm a Big 12 guy and what he was able to do at Iowa State and everything. He was just fun to watch in between the tackles. I think they use him more, and then Cohen on third downs. But I do like Freeman a lot, and I really hope he does go somewhere fun to watch, because he's always a fun running back to watch.
Yeah, and Cohen can also fill that like receiver role too. Like he had, I don't know how many catches he had last year, but I do know he was getting the ball thrown to him a lot, and he's fast. He's small and he's fast. So
hey, he could come in and play quarterback too over those 2 scrubs. So he's thrown some touchdown passes before. Well, It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. I'm interested because they play the NFC South this year, so there'll be some good battles for sure.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
But I really do think Matt Patricia is on his way out.
Yeah.
I don't know. He seemed really happy during the draft. Every pick, he was like, oh,
Yeah.
but I'm like,
Hot seat.
Yeah. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, I guess we can end this, and we can next week we'll move to the NFC East, talk about some Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Redskins.
Sounds good.
That'll be coming soon. So thank you all for watching. Go ahead and subscribe. Appreciate that. Y'all have a good one.